LeBron James isn't who you think he is, and these are 10 things you probably didn't know about King James. And first up, if you've ever watched LeBron tear up the basketball court, you would see him draining threes with his right hand, finishing layups with both hands, and posterizing defenders mainly with his right hand like it's no big deal. But here's the kicker, LeBron is actually a lefty, and when he's not on the court, LeBron's all about that left hand. He writes with it, eats with it, and signs those massive million-dollar contracts with it. But when it comes to basketball, he's all about that right-hand game. The crazy part is, he taught himself to do it. Think about it. He's out there clowning other players, and he ain't even using his dominant hand. Talk about next-level skills. Now let's dial it up a notch and talk about a move that nearly cost the King a cool $50 million. Now back in 2019, LeBron's coming off a losing season with the Lakers. He's like, okay, we need to shake things up, and he goes and trades almost the entire squad for Anthony Davis. But here is where it gets crazy. LeBron knows that AD has a thing for the number 23. I mean, his airness MJ made the number cool, but the problem is LeBron's been repping that number for ages. So in a super classy move, he decides to let AD have it. Like, welcome to the Lakers, buddy. But here comes the problem. LeBron's phone buzzes, and it's Nike calling with some major league drama. Turns out they've already cooked up millions of LeBron Lakers jerseys with that big old 23 on them. Now, Bron has got to make a choice. Either burn through stacks of cash to trash all that gear, or stick with the number 23. So what does he do? He keeps his cool, sticks with 23, and tells AD to pick a different number. But here's the kicker. The very next year, when LeBron could have finally made the switch, AD's like, nah, I'm good with my new digits. Imagine that. LeBron nearly dropped $50 million just because of a jersey. That said, we are just scratching the surface of the other secrets that are lurking in the shadows of LeBron's legendary career. Speaking of which, we gotta talk about a decision that almost derailed LeBron's career. Now, LeBron James had his fair share of ups and downs during his senior year of high school. Thankfully, he made a smooth transition to the NBA, but you won't believe how rocky the road started. In a head-scratching move, LeBron's mom gifted him a shiny Hummer H, 2 souped up with televisions, a video game console, and custom sound. But here's where the problem is. The Ohio High School Athletic Association, OHSAA, rules that prohibit gifts of greater value than $100, and believed LeBron's mom was likely funded by outside sources. But how did she afford such a pricey gift? Well, she took out a loan and basically bet on LeBron's future, counting on that big fat contract he was destined to land once he hit the pros. Now let's keep it real. This was a seriously questionable move, and let's not forget LeBron was just a teenager. It shouldn't matter that he was a surefire millionaire in the making. That's like piling more bricks onto a kid who's already carrying the weight of the world. And if nothing else, the car is a friendly reminder of how utterly and completely insane the hype around James in high school was. That said, we also got to talk about the time LeBron almost ruined someone's life over a picture. It all started with this dunk. Even though it wasn't LeBron's most mind-blowing dunk, he decided to flex on him and drop the pic on Facebook and his IG. But here's where it gets dicey. The photographer who snapped that pic, Steve Mitchell, caught wind of his pic blowing up LeBron's social media. Now, Steve's got a habit of posting his pics online, where folks can buy licenses to use them. So you can imagine his surprise when he sees LeBron posting that pic all over the internet for free. Steve wasn't having it. He got on the horn with his lawyer and dropped a copyright infringement hammer on LeBron and demanded a cool $150,000 for the damages. But LeBron wasn't having it either. He figured Mitchell was just trying to cash in on an easy payday. So he pulls a power move and countersues Mitchell, slapping a $1 million lawsuit on the dude. Mitchell got hit so hard in the wallet that he practically filed for bankruptcy. I mean, look at LeBron, dropping buckets on the court and dropping lawsuits in the courtroom. Anyways, let's talk about an injury that rewrote LeBron's destiny. Let's rewind the clock to St. Vincent, St. Mary High School, where a 17-year-old LeBron James was already taking the sports world by storm. And I'm not just talking about basketball. This dude was a legendary football player in the making. On the gridiron, he was like a force of nature. From sophomore to junior year, LeBron racked up over 100 receptions and scored 23 touchdowns. The Division I offers were rolling in, and LeBron faced a dilemma as big as his dreams. Was it going to be football or basketball? But here's where everything changed for LeBron. In a summer league game, LeBron did what he'd done a million times before. He went up for the slam. But this time, disaster struck. LeBron suffered a catastrophic injury that sent him straight to the hospital. And when the docs took a peek at his wrist, they were hit with a bone-chilling realization. That wrist was shattered suddenly. He was told he couldn't play either for at least 2 months. LeBron faced a life-changing crossroads: football or basketball. Going back to the football field meant risking another injury that could obliterate his chances of making it to the NFL or the NBA. So, with his entire family depending on him, LeBron dumped football for basketball and focused on securing his spot in the NBA. When he finally returned to the court, he didn't just put up numbers. He led his high school to their 3rd championship in 4 years. And right there, he officially became the world's top prospect and #1 pick in the 2003 NBA draft. And now that we're getting into the top 5 craziest stories of LeBron's career, let's take things to a whole new level. Back in 2006, 3 years into his NBA career, LeBron had become one of the NBA's most lethal scorers and was voted into the 2006 NBA All-Star Game. But what should have been a routine flight to the All-Star event in Houston turned into a deadly one. Before takeoff, LeBron glanced at the plane and felt that something was off. But nobody took his fear of flying seriously. After all, takeoffs had always been smooth, and everyone had been through this routine countless times. However, as they soared through the skies halfway into the flight, chaos erupted. The lights flickered, and turbulence rattled the plane, and in the blink of an eye, everyone on board was in danger. That said, the plane made a heart-pounding descent, but miraculously, they landed safely. LeBron knew that day could have been his last, but he didn't let the fear consume him. Instead, he channeled that adrenaline into an all-star game, securing both the win and the coveted MVP title. Thank God LeBron did not die, because if he did, LeBron wouldn't be around to save an NBA legend's life, right after losing the 2015 finals. To clear his mind, Bron dialed up his buddies, Dwayne, CP3, and Melo, for a getaway to the Bahamas. Little did he know that this trip would turn into one of the most scary experiences of his life. As they touched down in paradise, the plan was simple: celebrate with some wine and then head out for an adventure on a banana boat. But as they ventured deep into the waters, Mother Nature had other plans. Suddenly, the winds and the waves grew, and in the blink of an eye, the situation went from chill to life-threatening as Carmelo was drowning. With LeBron as the only one who could swim, the responsibility fell squarely on his shoulders. He became a real-life lifeguard, not just on the court, but in the waters of the Bahamas. From almost dying to saving a life, but it's still not as crazy as the psychotic fan who wanted to fill in the gap of LeBron's biggest missing piece of his life just to rob him with millions of dollars. You see, LeBron's journey from the mean streets of Akron to NBA stardom was marked by his father's absence. Raised by his single mom, Gloria, LeBron had to grow up without a father's guidance. But LeBron pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the game. However, on July 8, 2010, LeBron took to Live TV to announce his decision to join the Miami Heat, triggering one of the most viral moments in sports history. Little did he know, this decision would pave the way for an unexpected family reunion. Out of the blue, a man named Lester Bryce Stovall claimed to be LeBron's biological father. But that wasn't all. He slapped LeBron and Gloria with a whopping $4 million lawsuit, alleging a DNA cover-up that dated back 26 years. On that fateful night of March 15th, 1984, Lester met Gloria at the DC Space Bar. She was in her 20s, seeking adventure. Their encounter turned intimate, but in the light of day, Lester vanished without a trace, leaving Gloria with more than just a few regrets. A few weeks later, the call came. Gloria was pregnant. Lester's response? A skeptical, well, if he's mine, make sure he plays basketball. This was in March, 9 months before LeBron's December 30th, 1984 birth date. Yet Lester's remorse only caught up with him on December 5th, 2007, when LeBron had already amassed a fortune. In a desperate attempt to reconnect with his alleged son and Gloria, Lester made the call. But it was too little, too late. Gloria had no interest in rekindling old flames, and she wasn't about to let Lester disrupt their newfound stardom. But LeBron got wind of the situation and couldn't let it slide. He desperately wanted to uncover the truth and decided to settle it once and for all through a DNA test. The results were inconclusive, or so LeBron and Gloria claimed. Lester wasn't buying it. He believed there was foul play involved, that the evidence had been tampered with, and that he and LeBron were cut from the same cloth. They shared the same body type, nearly the same height, and heck, they even had the same slam dunk style. In a last-ditch effort, Lester dropped a $4 million lawsuit against LeBron and Gloria, accusing them of fraud, defamation, and misrepresentation. But the courtroom showdown didn't pan out as Lester had hoped. In 2011, a judge concluded that Lester was merely trying to cash in on being LeBron's dad, and the case was dismissed. To this day, the true identity of his biological father remains in the dark. That said, for over 22 years in the NBA and in the spotlight, LeBron has managed to steer clear of controversy and stay laser-focused. But what most people don't realize is that King James has a secret weapon that keeps him going strong, an addiction that fuels his drive, and he's not afraid to talk about it. At 38 years old, LeBron plays like he's in his prime, and it might just be his nightly routine with a dash of wine and a sprinkle of tequila that keeps him on top of his game. It might sound unconventional, but hey, it's what keeps the king going. But even that ain't the wildest LeBron story you're about to hear. Think back to LeBron's early years in the league, the time before he snagged his first NBA championship with the Heat. He was already a beast on the court, but something was missing, something that separated him from the championship ring. Coaches knew it, LeBron knew it. There was a gap in his game. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of shrugging it off, LeBron decided he needed to level up. And guess who he turned to? None other than the legendary Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the all-time greats. You see, LeBron had the size and the athleticism, but not the low-post finesse required for championship-level play. So, he went to learn the art of the low post from the Dream himself. Days turned into weeks, sweat poured, and moves were honed. And guess what? When LeBron left the ranch, he was ready. And ready he was. LeBron not only transformed his game, but also grabbed 2 championships in the next 2 seasons. Then came the unthinkable, a championship for his beloved Cleveland. There you have 10 things you did not know about the king himself. LeBron's life is a wild roller coaster, full of drama, resilience, and jaw-dropping moments.